r/NoSleep. Posted by you/already user 49. Here's what really happens when we die. Hello Earth. I'm writing this today because it feels wrong not to share it. I decided to tell you, internet strangers, because the world deserves to know what really happens when we die. I'm sure you have a lot of questions and you're probably wondering how I'm writing this, or why I'm conscious. I will explain everything, but first, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Stephen Sterling, I'm 46 years old. I have terminal lung cancer. Inoperable. That's probably the result of my heavy smoking habit. Just stay away from cigarettes. I will probably be dead tomorrow. No, I'm not dead right now, in case you were wondering. I just know what comes after tomorrow for me. I had been afraid of death before I found out what it's like. When I first got diagnosed, I was told that I had 3 months to live. It's the maximum, according to several doctors. That means I will be dead on January 25, 2022. I hope I have enough time to at least finish this story. During those 3 months, I lived in fear every day, and did they go by fast? I couldn't stop thinking about what happens when we die. It was unbearable. I was just waiting for that day to finally come, without actually trying to do anything a dying person would. Now, 3 months have almost passed and I wasted every single day doing nothing. I looked at the calendar in my room today, the date was January 24th. I will most likely not make it through the night. I was lying on my bed, looking at the ceiling. I had never noticed that small crack near the chandelier. While trying to remember when was the last time I even looked up in my house, I heard a knock at the door. I was extremely confused because no one had knocked on that door for over 20 years. I was sure it was a mistake, so I continued thinking about that unimportant crack on the ceiling. Knock knock knock. I let out a sigh. I really wasn't in the mood for free samples of whatever the fuck they were selling. Although, I was wrong. When I opened the door, no one was selling anything. It was my friend Larry. My only friend. He had found out about my situation, and came to visit me. Larry? I said. He looked at me. He seemed so happy to see me. Unusually happy. Then, he hugged me. Even though it was only a hug, I had never felt more loved. We got inside and I made us a cup of tea. How did you? I asked the question partly, but he understood. Oh, I talked to your mother. He answered and took the first sip of his tea. Yeah, I guess I should give her a call too, it's been a long time, I said. I reached over to grab my phone when he stopped me. You know, I'm kinda in a rush, why not talk to your mother later? He calmly replied and took another sip of his tea. You're right, sorry about that, it was rude. I answered. After a few minutes of silence, Larry decided to finally say something. I'm really sorry about that, Steve. Thank you. I generically replied. Have you ever wondered what happens after? He said all of a sudden. I looked at him. He was sipping his tea while looking at me. What happens after what? I asked even though I knew what he meant. What do you think happens when we die, Steve? Silence. What a question to ask a dying person, I was thinking. I don't know. Eternal nothingness. Infinite blackness, endless void. Whatever you call it, that's what happens, I said angrily. He chuckled and took yet another sip. If you had the chance to know, before it happens, would you take it? I didn't respond. I looked at my cup of tea on the table. It was still full. I hate tea. I looked around. I looked at the old clock in the living room, it's sad how it'll live longer than most of us. I looked out the window. Children were playing outside. They will die too. I tried looking at the sun, it will eventually explode. I looked at the calendar on the wall. One day until the party. I wanted to cry it all out. I wanted Larry to leave, I wanted to be alone until my eternity. That feeling of fear struck me again. What's the meaning of it all? Why me? What comes after? So many questions, and yet, so little answers. Yeah. I would take the chance. I finally replied. I want to know what happens after death, Larry, I said in a quavering voice. Then, he smiled. Look out the window. I was confused, again. What do you mean, Larry? I asked. Just turn around, he said while still smiling. I turned around, I looked through the same window but There weren't any kids. There was no sun. It was the universe. I walked to the window, purple and black colors along with sparkling stars and asteroids. Everywhere. I felt a strong urge to go out and explore all of it. Another strange thing was, I didn't feel shocked or confused. It seemed like a promised land, nothing strange, nothing unreal. I kept staring at the beautiful flow of matter. Words can't describe it. Larry, is this what it's like? I turned around. Larry was still there, still smiling. Yeah, but it's not completely the same. He replied and took the last sip of his tea. It's not the same, because you will no longer need to carry that flawed body around. He stood up and smiled again. I chose to say goodbye, I won't be here for long. I was a little confused. Don't worry. You'll understand soon. Until then, remember, possibilities are endless, not the void. I smiled too. I watched Larry leave my house. I turned around, just to look at the world from that unique perspective one more time, but it was gone. The children were back. The sun was back. Everything went back to normal. Was that all just a dream? I was thinking. I looked at Larry's empty cup with a tea bag in it and smiled again. It wasn't a dream. I would never drink a cup of tea. I'm also not scared of death anymore. Now, when I know what it's like, what am I supposed to be afraid of? After several minutes of processing everything, the phone rang. It was my mom. Strange. She rarely calls. I picked up. I listened to my mother for about 15 seconds, and then dropped the phone on the ground. She had news, and turns out that Larry Smith died in a car accident 2 days ago. Did I just talk to a dead person? I was thinking. No, that's not possible. Did Larry even come? That must have been a dream. Then I looked at his cup again. I screamed. I talked to a dead person. The same feeling of fear. I felt it yet again. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. I was yelling on the floor, looking at the ceiling. Looking at the crack. Then, I moved my head to the left. Ready to fall asleep, exhausted from all the screaming. But before I closed my eyes, I was able to see through the window one more time, and it was back. The universe. I got up immediately and walked to the window. I put my hand on the glass. I definitely wasn't dreaming. That was real, and that's what comes after. I was thinking about Larry and everything he had told me. He was out there. Somewhere. I felt happy that he decided to visit his old friend during his final return to Earth. I, too, will soon be able to step outside the borders and break the limits of our bodies. I'm about to explore every star, every galaxy, every planet, without anything pulling me behind. Who knows, maybe there's something beyond the universe itself, something that our, again limited, brains can't even imagine nor comprehend. I wish I could share every adventure of mine, after tomorrow, but that's a journey everyone has to experience on their own. Until we all meet again, I guess I should say, goodbye Earth.